Captain Jake Morrison stood at the bridge of the UE's horizon, staring at the planet below. Kepler 442b looked peaceful from space. Its blue oceans and green continents reminded him of Earth, but something was wrong with this picture. The planet showed signs of old cities, but no life signals came from the surface. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Lieutenant Gary Chun from his station. "There's a massive structure about 50 miles north of the main continent. It's giving off a power signature." Jake nodded. They had been exploring this system for 3 weeks now. The Peaceful Alliance had sent them to check for new colony sites. Instead, they found mysteries. Old ruins covered the planet's surface. Someone had lived here once, but they were gone now. "Take us down, Gary. Let's see what we're dealing with." The ship descended through the atmosphere. Jake watched the landscape change from orbit view to ground level. The structure Gary had found was huge. It looked like a mountain made of metal and glass. Strange symbols covered its surface. Dr. Lisa Hayes joined Jake on the bridge. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight bun as she wore her usual serious expression. "Captain, I've been studying the planet's history," she said. "This world was abandoned about 73 years ago, right around the time of the Great Sleep." Jake's stomach dropped. The Great Sleep was something everyone knew about, but few discussed. It was the time when the last human warriors had been put into eternal rest. The galaxy had decided that humans were too dangerous to stay awake. "You think there might be humans down there?" Jake asked. Lisa nodded. "The power readings suggest suspended animation technology. Very advanced stuff. Much better than anything we use today." Chief Engineer Pete Collins walked over to them. He was a big man with strong hands and a practical mind. "Captain, I've been looking at the scans. That facility is still active. Whatever's inside, it's being kept alive." Jake made his decision. "Prep the landing party. Lisa, Pete, you're with me. Gary, you have the ship." The landing shuttle touched down near the facility's main entrance. The doors were massive, easily 30 feet tall. They looked like they could stop a tank. Strange. Writing covered the surface in what looked like old human script. Pete studied his scanner. "The doors are sealed, but I'm detecting movement inside. The power grid is running at full capacity." Lisa took readings with her equipment. "The atmosphere inside is perfect for human life. Temperature, oxygen levels, everything is exactly right." Jake approached the doors. As he got closer, lights began to glow along the frame. A voice spoke from hidden speakers. It was calm and mechanical. "Identification required. State your name and purpose." "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the UES Horizon. We're explorers from the Peaceful Alliance. Processing. Captain Morrison, you are not authorized to enter this facility. Please leave immediately." Jake looked at his team. "We're not leaving. We have a right to explore abandoned structures. This facility is not abandoned. It houses 10,047 human subjects in suspended animation. Access is restricted by galactic treaty." Lisa's eyes went wide. 10,000 humans? That's impossible. There weren't that many warriors left after the war. The voice continued. "I am Guardian, the facility's artificial intelligence. These humans were placed in my care 73 years ago. They must not be disturbed." Pete stepped forward. "Guardian, we just want to look around. We won't disturb anyone." "Negative. The treaty is clear. These humans are too dangerous to wake. They must sleep forever." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. "Forever? That's not sleep, that's death. It is the price of peace, Captain Morrison. These humans were Earth's most skilled warriors. They know only war and violence. The galaxy is safer with them asleep." Lisa was recording everything. "Guardian, Who signed this treaty? Who gave the order to put these people to sleep? Earth's President Nicole Adams signed on behalf of humanity. The Galactic Council signed for all other species. The agreement was simple. These humans would sleep, and the rest of humanity would be left in peace. Jake walked closer to the doors. But they're still alive in there? Yes, they dream of home and family. They do not know that Earth has fallen. They do not know that their sacrifice was meaningless. Pete's hands tightened on his scanner. What do you mean, meaningless? The peace treaty was broken 3 years after signing. The Galactic Council attacked the remaining human colonies. Only intervention by sympathetic species saved humanity from extinction. Jake felt sick. So these people gave up their freedom for nothing? They gave up their freedom to save their species. But their species was nearly destroyed anyway. The galaxy fears what humans can do when they stop being peaceful. Lisa looked at Jake. Captain, we need to report this to the Alliance. They need to know about this place. The Alliance knows, Guardian said. They have always known. They chose to let these humans sleep rather than face the consequences of waking them. Jake stared at the massive doors. Behind them slept 10,000 of his people. Warriors who had sacrificed everything for peace. Warriors who had been betrayed by both enemies and friends. Guardian, what would happen if these humans woke up? They would remember the betrayal. They would remember that their sacrifice was wasted. They would remember that they are very good at war. Pete wiped sweat from his forehead. And that scares everyone? Captain Morrison, these humans were not chosen randomly for the Great Sleep. They were selected because they were the most dangerous individuals humanity had ever produced. Generals, admirals, special forces, intelligence officers, weapons designers. Earth's greatest military minds, all in one place. Jake looked at his team. Lisa was pale. Pete was shaking his head. They all understood now. This wasn't just a tomb. It was a vault. A place where humanity's weapons of war had been locked away. Guardian, are they really as dangerous as everyone says? Captain, these humans won a war against the entire galaxy. They only lost because they chose to stop fighting. If they wake up and choose to fight again, the galaxy will burn. Jake stared at the doors for a long moment. Inside were his people, his species' greatest warriors. They slept while the galaxy forgot to fear humanity. But Jake remembered the stories. He remembered what humans could do when they stopped being nice. Guardian, we're going back to our ship. But we'll be back. I hope not, Captain Morrison. For everyone's sake, I hope not. As they walked back to the shuttle, Lisa grabbed Jake's arm. Captain, what are you thinking? Jake looked back at the facility. I'm thinking that maybe it's time. The galaxy remembered who we used to be. The shuttle lifted off, leaving the facility behind. But Jake knew they would return. The question was whether they would come back as explorers or as something else entirely. In the facility, Guardian watched them leave. The AI calculated probabilities and outcomes. It knew that change was coming. The Great Sleep was ending, and the galaxy was not ready. Commander Alex Turner crouched behind the rocks on the asteroid base, watching his people die. The Zephyrian Empire had found their hideout again. Their black ships filled the sky, raining fire on the rebel camp below. "Sir, we need to pull back," shouted Sergeant Maria Santos over the noise of explosions. "We can't hold them much longer." Alex watched another transport ship explode as it tried to escape. Inside were families, children, people who just wanted to be free from Zephyrian rule. "No," Alex said through gritted teeth. "We hold this line. Everyone behind us dies if we run." But they were losing. They had been losing for 3 years now. The Zephyrian Empire was too strong, too well organized. Alex's rebels were brave, but bravery wasn't enough against superior numbers. and Technology. His communications officer, Lieutenant Tom Baker, crawled over to him. "Commander, we're getting a message from the UEC horizon. Captain Morrison says he found something important." Alex took the radio. "Morrison, this better be good. We're kind of busy dying here." Jake Morrison's voice crackled through the static. "Alex, I found them. I found the sleepers from the Great Sleep." Alex felt his heart stop. "Are you sure?" 10,000 humans in suspended animation. Earth's greatest warriors, locked away for 73 years. Their AI says they're too dangerous to wake up. Plasma fire exploded near Alex's position. He rolled behind better cover. "Jake, I need details. How many? What kind of warriors?" "Generals, admirals, special forces. The best Earth had. They were put to sleep to keep the peace. But the peace was broken anyway." Alex made a decision that would change everything. "Send me the coordinates. We're coming." "Alex, wait. The AI warned me. These humans are dangerous. Really dangerous." "Good," Alex said, watching another rebel ship die. "Dangerous is exactly what we need." The retreat from the asteroid base was chaos. Half of Alex's people didn't make it out. The Zephyrians chased them through 3-star systems before they finally escaped. Dr. Amy Foster treated the wounded in the rebel ship's medical bay. She was a smart woman who had joined the rebellion after the Zephyrians destroyed her home planet. Her steady hands saved lives, but her eyes showed the strain of constant war. "Alex, we lost a lot of people today," she said as he checked on the injured. "How many more battles like this can we survive?" "None," Alex admitted. "That's why we need to try something different." Amy looked at him with suspicion. "What are you planning?" "We're going to wake up some old soldiers and ask them to help us win a war." Amy's face went pale. "The Great Sleep Facility?" "Alex, that's forbidden. The treaty specifically says those humans must never be awakened." "The treaty was broken a long time ago, Amy. The Zephyrians don't care about old agreements. They care about power and control." Captain Danny Walsh joined them. He was Alex's best pilot and a natural leader. "Commander, I've been listening to the chatter. The Zephyrians are mobilizing their entire fleet. They want to finish us once and for all." Alex nodded. "Then we better move fast." "How long to reach?" "The coordinates Morrison gave us? 2 days if we push the engines hard." "Do it." The rebel fleet consisted of 12 ships, most of them old and patched together. They carried the last free humans in this sector of the galaxy. Everyone else was either dead or enslaved by the Zephyrians. During the journey, Alex called his senior staff together. Besides Amy and Danny, there was Major Lisa Brooks, his intelligence officer, and Chief Engineer Rick Davis, who kept their ancient ships running. "People, we're about to do something that might save us or damn us," Alex began. "We're going to wake up Earth's sleeping warriors." Lisa spoke first. "Sir, I've been researching the Great Sleep. Those humans weren't just soldiers. They were the ones who almost won the war against the entire galaxy. They scared everyone so badly that the peace treaty was basically a surrender." Rick nodded. "I've read the technical reports. Human military technology was decades ahead of everyone else. They had ships that could outfight anything, weapons that could destroy entire fleets." Amy crossed her arms. "And they were locked away. For good reason. The reports say they were violent, unpredictable, and completely ruthless in combat." Alex stood up. "Amy, look around. We're already violent. We're already unpredictable. The only difference is that we're losing." "But what if?" "We can't control them once they wake up," Amy asked. "What if they decide we're the enemy?" "Then we'll be no worse off than we are now," Alex said. "At least we'll die fighting instead of running." The fleet reached Kepler 442b without incident. The planet looked peaceful from space, but Alex knew better. He had learned that peaceful-looking places often held the most dangerous secrets. Captain Morrison's ship was still in orbit. Alex opened a channel to the UES horizon. "Jake, we're here. What's the situation?" "The facility is secure. The AI Guardian is still trying to convince me to leave, but I think it's starting to understand that things have changed." Alex took a shuttle down to the surface with his core team. The facility was even more impressive than Morrison had described. It looked like a fortress built into the mountain itself. Guardian's voice greeted them at the entrance. "Commander Turner, I know why you are here. I cannot allow you to wake these humans." "Guardian, my people are dying. The Zephyrians are committing genocide. These sleeping humans are the only ones who can stop them. The humans inside this facility are weapons of war. They know only violence and destruction. If you wake them, you will unleash something the galaxy cannot control." Amy stepped forward. "Guardian, what if we only wake a few of them, the leaders? We could explain the situation and ask for their help." "Dr. Foster, these humans do not ask for permission to wage war. They see a problem and they solve it permanently. If you wake them, they will not stop until every enemy is dead." Alex felt frustration rising. "Guardian, what's the point of keeping them asleep if everyone they were meant to protect is going to die anyway?" For a long moment, Guardian was silent. Then the AI spoke again, its voice different somehow, sadder. "Colonel Sam Parker, Major Kate Sullivan, General Rick Davis. These are the names of the first 3 humans in the facility. They were the best Earth had. They volunteered for the Great Sleep to save their species." "Then let us wake them," Alex said. "Let us give them a chance to finish what they started." "Commander Turner, if I allow this, there will be no going back. These humans will not return to sleep. They will not accept another treaty. They will fight until they win or die." Alex looked at his team. Amy was scared but determined. Danny was ready for action. Lisa was calculating odds and probabilities. They all knew the risks. Guardian opened the doors. "It's time to wake up the warriors." The massive doors began to open with a sound like thunder. Cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal and ozone. Inside, Alex could see rows of glowing chambers stretching into the darkness. "I hope you know what you're doing, Commander Turner," Guardian said, "because once these humans wake up, the galaxy will never be the same." Alex walked toward the first chamber. Inside was a man in his 40s, perfectly preserved. The nameplate read, "Colonel Sam Parker, Earth Defense Force." "Guardian, begin the awakening process for Colonel Parker." Awakening sequence initiated. "Colonel Parker will be conscious in approximately 10 minutes. Alex stepped back and waited. In 10 minutes, he would either save his people or doom the galaxy. But as he watched the chamber begin to warm, he realized that maybe those were the same thing. The rebellion was about to get some very old, very dangerous help, and the Zephyrians had no idea what was coming. Colonel Sam Parker's eyes opened slowly. The first thing he saw was a ceiling he didn't recognize. The second thing he saw was a group of people staring down at him with mixed expressions of hope and fear. "Easy, Colonel," said a voice he didn't. "No, you've been asleep for a while." Sam sat up carefully. His body felt strange, like he had been lying down for days. His mind was sharp, though, instantly cataloging details. The people around him were human, armed, nervous. The facility looked like the sleep chambers he remembered entering. "How long?" Sam asked. His voice was rough from disuse. 73 years, replied the man who had spoken first. "I'm Commander Alex Turner. This is my team. 73 years. Sam processed that information without showing emotion. A soldier learned to accept unexpected situations quickly. "Status report," Sam said, getting to his feet. "Where's my unit?" "What's the—" Tactical situation? Alex exchanged glances with his people. Colonel, a lot has changed. The war is over. Earth lost. The peace treaty put you and your people to sleep. Sam's expression hardened. The treaty was supposed to be temporary, a cooling-off period while negotiations continued. The treaty was broken 3 years after it was signed, Alex said. The Galactic Council attacked the remaining human colonies. Most of our people are dead or enslaved. Sam was quiet for a long moment. Then he walked to a wall panel and activated it with his palm print. The screen showed the facility's status. 10,000 humans in suspended animation. All alive, all waiting. Guardian, Sam said to the air, double quotes, yes. Colonel Parker, it is good to have you awake. Give me a full briefing. Everything that's happened since we went to sleep. Guardian's voice filled the chamber. The peace treaty lasted 3 years. Then the Zephyrian Empire began expanding aggressively. They enslaved the Krillian species first, then the Mantoid colonies. When they attacked human worlds, the other species did nothing. Sam's jaw tightened. And our people? Scattered. Some colonies survived in remote systems. Others were destroyed. The peaceful alliance was formed to maintain order, but they chose not to intervene in human affairs. Alex stepped forward. Colonel, we're rebels fighting against the Zephyrians. We found this facility and decided to wake you up. We need help. Sam looked at Alex with cold eyes. Commander, you have no idea what you've done. My people weren't put to sleep because we were tired. We were put to sleep because we were winning. Dr. Amy Foster spoke up. The reports said humans were too violent, that you couldn't be controlled. Sam almost smiled. Doctor, we were controlled. We controlled ourselves. We chose to stop fighting when we could have kept going. We chose to trust in peace when we could have chosen victory. And now? Alex asked. Now we know that peace built on surrender doesn't last. Guardian, begin awakening Major Kate Sullivan and General Rick Davis. Guardian hesitated. Colonel, are you certain? Once awakened, they cannot return to sleep. I'm certain. And Guardian? Start bringing the facility's weapon systems online. We're going to need them. Within an hour, Major Kate Sullivan and General Rick Davis were awake. Kate was a sharp-eyed woman in her 30s who had been Earth's top intelligence officer. Rick was a grizzled veteran who had commanded fleets in the deepest parts of space. 73 years, Kate said after receiving the briefing. They waited until we were safely asleep, then broke the treaty anyway. Rick was studying tactical displays. The Zephyrian Empire controls 12 star systems now. They have over 2,000 ships and occupy 47 worlds. Alex felt overwhelmed. General, we have 12 ships and maybe 3,000 people. How can we possibly fight them? Rick looked at him with amusement. Son, we once fought the entire galaxy with fewer resources than that. The trick isn't having more ships. It's knowing where to use the ones you have. Kate was reviewing intelligence reports on her personal tablet. The Zephyrians have made the same mistakes every empire makes. They've spread themselves too thin. Their supply lines are vulnerable. Sam activated another wall panel. Guardian, I need a full inventory of our resources. Personnel, equipment, ships, everything. Colonel, in addition to the 10,000 sleeping humans, this facility contains the following: 57 next-generation fighter craft, 12 heavy cruisers, 3 battleships, advanced manufacturing equipment, and a complete arsenal of human military technology. Alex's eyes went wide. This place is a military base? This place is a fortress, Sam corrected. It was designed to be humanity's last stand if the peace treaty failed. Which it did. Rick was grinning now. Sam, remember the Titan Protocol? I remember everything, Rick. Kate, what's our intelligence situation? Kate looked up from her tablet. We know where they are, but they don't know about us. Yet, the Zephyrians think all dangerous humans are either dead or asleep. They're not. Watching for military action from human forces. That's about to change, Sam said. Guardian, begin awakening the command staff. I want Admiral Janet Pierce, Colonel Mike Roberts, and Major Steve Johnson conscious within the hour. Alex felt like he was losing control of the situation. Colonel, shouldn't we discuss strategy first? Plan our approach? Sam looked at him with the expression of a man who had fought 100 battles. Commander, you woke us up because you needed warriors. Warriors don't debate. Warriors win. But we need to be smart about this, Amy protested. The Zephyrians have overwhelming numbers. Kate laughed. Doctor, numbers don't matter if you know how to use them. The Zephyrians fight like every other species in the galaxy. They line up their ships and trade shots until someone surrenders. Humans don't fight like that, Rick added. We fight dirty. We fight smart. We fight to win. More awakening chambers began to activate. Men and women who had been Earth's finest military minds started to emerge from their long sleep. Each one received a quick briefing and immediately began working on their part of the larger plan. Admiral Janet Pierce was the first to speak once she understood the situation. So we're outnumbered 700 to 1. Our people are scattered across the galaxy, and everyone thinks we're monsters who can't be trusted. That's about right, Sam confirmed. Janet smiled. Good. I was worried this would be too easy. Alex watched the humans work with growing amazement. They didn't argue about strategy. They didn't debate ethics. They simply looked at the problem and began solving it with ruthless efficiency. Colonel Mike Roberts was examining the facility's manufacturing capabilities. We can build 100 ships in 6 months. Not huge ships, but fast ones. Armed with technology the Zephyrians have never seen. Major Steve Johnson was reviewing personnel files. We have the best pilots, the best soldiers, the best tacticians Earth ever produced. All we need is to wake them up and give them something to fight with. Kate looked up from her intelligence work. I've been analyzing Zephyrian communication. Patterns. They're planning something big. A final push to eliminate all human resistance. When? Sam asked. 3 months. Maybe less. Rick nodded. Then we have 3 months to remind the galaxy why they put us to sleep in the first place. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. What exactly are you planning? Sam walked to a window that looked out over the facility. In the distance, he could see more awakening chambers activating. His people were coming back to life, one by one. Commander Turner, you asked us to help you win a war, but we're not going to help you win. We're going to win it for you. I don't understand the difference, Alex said. Sam turned back to him. You're fighting to survive. We're fighting to make sure no one ever threatens humanity again. Kate closed her tablet. The Zephyrians want to rule the galaxy through fear and intimidation. We're going to show them what real fear looks like. Rick laughed. It's going to be just like old times, Sam. Except this time, we're not going to stop when they ask us to. Sam nodded. This time, we finish what we started. Guardian, begin full awakening protocols. All personnel, all ships, all weapon systems. Colonel, once I begin full awakening, there will be no hiding our presence. The entire galaxy will know that humanity's warriors are awake. Good, Sam said. It's time they remembered what happens when you break faith with Earth. Alex looked around at the awakening humans. They moved with purpose and confidence that he had never seen before. These weren't just soldiers. They were something more dangerous. They were soldiers who had nothing left to lose. Dr. Helen Cruz stood in the facility's medical bay, watching the awakening process with mixed emotions. She had been the chief medical officer when the Great Sleep began. Now, 73 years later, she was watching her patients wake up to a galaxy that had forgotten its promises. "Helen, it's good to see you," said Colonel Sam Parker as he entered the medical bay. "I need you to brief the newcomers about what really happened." Helen nodded. She had dreaded this moment for decades. "Sam, some of them aren't going to take this well. They believed in the peace treaty. They trusted the promises. They need to know the truth," Sam said. "All of it." Helen gathered the newly awakened humans in the facility's main briefing room. Familiar faces surrounded her. People she had worked with, fought alongside, shared hopes and fears with. Captain Tony Martinez, who had been Earth's youngest ship commander. Major Lisa Brooks, the psychological warfare expert. Commander Julia Thompson, Master of Intelligence Networks. "Friends," Helen began, "I know you're all confused and angry. You expected to wake up to a peaceful galaxy. Instead, you have awakened to war. Let me tell you what really happened." She activated the wall screen, showing images and documents from the past 73 years. The peace treaty was signed on March 15th, 2314. President Nicole Adams represented Earth. The Galactic Council represented everyone else. Captain Martinez leaned forward. "Doc, we remember the signing. We were there. The treaty was supposed to last forever." "It lasted 3 years," Helen said quietly. 3 years, 4 months, and 16 days. The room fell silent. Helen continued. "The treaty had secret clauses. The Galactic Council agreed to leave human colonies alone only as long as Earth's military leaders remained in suspended animation. They saw you as the real threat," Major Brooks spoke up. "So they weren't afraid of humanity. They were afraid of us specifically. Yes, the treaty called you enhanced strategic assets that needed to be contained for galactic stability." Helen showed them more documents. The Zephyrian Empire began expanding 18 months after the treaty. They tested the galaxy's resolve by attacking small, defenseless worlds. No one stopped them. "What about the Peaceful Alliance?" asked Commander Thompson. "The alliance was formed to maintain order, but they defined order as no major wars. They didn't care about small conflicts or oppression. They just wanted to prevent another galactic war." Helen's voice became bitter. When the Zephyrians attacked the first human colony, the Alliance called it a local dispute. When they attacked the second, it was a border adjustment. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The images on the screen showed burning cities, refugee ships, and mass graves. The Zephyrians didn't just conquer human worlds. They made examples of them. They wanted to break human spirit permanently. Captain Martinez stood up, his face red with anger. "Why didn't someone wake us up? Why didn't they call for help?" Helen looked at him with sad eyes. "Some tried. Admiral Coran West of the Alliance argued for awakening your unit. She was overruled. The other species were more afraid of you than they were of the Zephyrians. Even when their own people were dying?" asked Major Brooks. "Even then." The Clusian delegate, Zeth Kar, was the only one who spoke in favor of awakening you. He said, "Better to have dangerous allies than polite enemies." Helen showed them a recording of Earth's final transmission. President Adams, older and worn, down by years of war, spoke to the camera with tears in her eyes. "To my friends sleeping in the deep places, I'm sorry. We believed in peace. We believed in treaties and promises. We were wrong. The galaxy has forgotten what humans can do when pushed too far. Maybe it's time to remind them." The recording ended. The room was completely quiet. Commander Thompson broke the silence. "How many of our people are left?" "Exact numbers are hard to determine," Helen said. "Perhaps 50 million scattered across 12 star systems. Most are under Zephyrian control. Some are refugees. A few are rebels, like Commander Turner's group. 50 million, repeated Captain Martinez. We had 8 billion people on Earth. Alone. Earth is gone, Helen said simply. The Zephyrians burned it 6 months after the treaty was broken. They said it was to prevent human military resurgence. Major Brooks closed her eyes. They killed our world to make sure we couldn't come back. Yes, but they made a mistake. They thought Earth was where human strength came from. They didn't. Understand that human strength comes from human anger. Helen activated another screen. This is what the galaxy looks like now. The Zephyrian Empire controls 12 star systems. They have enslaved or destroyed 47 species. The Peaceful Alliance pretends to maintain order while doing nothing to stop the slaughter. What about resistance? Asked Commander Thompson. There are rebel groups like Commander Turner's on a dozen worlds. They're brave, but they're losing. The Zephyrians have too many ships, too many soldiers, too much territory. Captain Martinez looked at the star map. Doc, you said they made a mistake. What kind of mistake? Helen smiled for the first time since the briefing began. They left you alive, all of you. Earth's greatest military minds, its most dangerous warriors, its most creative tactical thinkers. They could have killed you in your sleep, but they didn't. Why not? Asked Major Brooks. Because the treaty specifically protected you. The Galactic Council insisted on it. They said execution would be a war crime. They wanted to contain you, not murder you. Commander Thompson laughed bitterly. So they have principles when it comes to us, but not when it comes to genocide. Politics, Helen said. The same politics that got us into this mess. The Council species didn't want to be seen as murderers. They wanted to be seen as peacekeepers. Helen showed them one final image. It was a group photo of all the humans who had entered the Great Sleep. 10,000 faces, all young and determined, all believing they were sacrificing for a greater good. You gave up everything for peace, Helen said. You gave up your families, your careers, your freedom. You trusted that the galaxy would honor its promises. And they betrayed us, said Captain Martinez. They betrayed all of us, Helen agreed. But now you're awake, and the galaxy is about to remember why they were afraid of you in the first place. Major Brooks stood up. Helen, what do you think we should do? Helen looked at each of them in turn. These were people she had cared for, watched over, protected during their long sleep. They were her responsibility. I think, she said carefully, that the galaxy made a choice 73 years ago. They chose to believe that humans could be safely ignored. They chose to believe that promises to sleeping people didn't matter. They chose to believe that power without accountability was sustainable. And now? Asked Commander Thompson. Now, they get to live with the consequences of those choices. Helen walked to the window and looked out at the awakening facility. Lights were coming on in sections that had been dark for decades. Ships were being prepared for launch. Weapons were being loaded and tested. The peace treaty called you monsters, she said. It said you were too dangerous to be allowed freedom. Maybe it was right. She turned back to them. But monsters serve a purpose. They protect the innocent from things that are even worse. The Zephyrians wanted to see monsters? Let's show them what real monsters look like. Captain Martinez grinned. Doc, I think I'm going to like being awake. Major Brooks cracked her knuckles. Helen, where do we start? Helen smiled back at them. You start by remembering who you are. You're not just soldiers. You're Earth's vengeance. You're the price the galaxy pays for breaking faith with humanity. Commander Thompson nodded. And what's our objective? Helen's smile turned cold. Simple. Make sure no one ever makes the mistake of crossing humanity again. The briefing ended, and the humans dispersed to begin their work. Helen watched them go, feeling a mixture of pride and fear. She had awakened Earth's greatest warriors, but she had also unleashed something that might be beyond anyone's control. The galaxy had asked for peace through strength. Now they would learn the difference between strength and fury. Commander Alex Turner watched in amazement as Colonel Sam Parker transformed his rebel camp into something resembling a military base. In 3 days, the awakened humans had organized his people better than he had managed in 3 years of fighting. "Commander, your people are brave," said Captain Danny Walsh, walking up to Alex, "but they fight like amateurs." Alex felt defensive. "We've been holding our own against the Zephyrians for years." Danny nodded respectfully. "Yes, you have. And that shows incredible courage. But holding your own isn't winning. We're going to teach you how to win." Major Lisa Brooks approached them, carrying a tactical tablet. "Commander Turner, I've been studying your previous battles. You fight to survive each engagement. That's good for staying alive, but bad for winning wars." "What do you mean?" Alex asked. Lisa activated her tablet, showing a map of the local star. "Systems. You hit Zephyrian outposts, steal supplies, rescue prisoners, then run away to fight another day. It's guerrilla warfare. Classic resistance tactics. And what's wrong with that?" Alex demanded. "We're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. "Nothing's wrong with it," said Captain Danny. "It's just not enough. Guerrilla warfare can slow down an enemy, but it can't defeat them. For that, you need something different." Colonel Parker joined the conversation. "Commander, show me your last battle plan." Alex pulled up the data from their recent attack on a Zephyrian supply depot. "We hit them fast, grabbed what we could, and got out before reinforcements arrived." Parker studied the plan carefully. "Good tactics for the objective you chose. But why did you choose that objective?" "We needed supplies. Food, medicine, ammunition." "So? You fought to meet your immediate needs," Parker said. "That's survival thinking. Strategic thinking asks different questions." Major Brooks took over. "Instead of asking, 'What do we need?' we ask, 'What does the enemy need?' Instead of 'How do we survive this battle?' we ask, 'How do we make the enemy lose the war?'" Danny activated a larger display screen. "Look at this. Commander, your supply depot raid got you enough food for 2 weeks. But what if instead of raiding their supplies, you had destroyed their ability to make supplies?" The screen showed a detailed analysis of Zephyrian logistics. Every supply depot is fed by a production facility. Every production facility depends on raw materials. Every raw material shipment follows a predictable route. Alex began to understand. "So instead of stealing their food, we destroy their farms." "Exactly," said Parker. "But that's just the beginning. Lisa, show him the psychological component." Lisa smiled. "Commander, when you raid a supply depot, what does the enemy think? That we're desperate for supplies? Right. They think you're weak and running out of resources. But when you destroy their production capabilities, what do they think?" Alex thought about it. That we're targeting their infrastructure. That we understand their operations better than they thought. "And that makes them afraid," Danny added. "Not afraid of dying in battle. Afraid that you're smarter than they are. Fear of superior intelligence is much more damaging than fear of superior firepower." Parker brought up another display. "Commander, your people have been fighting defensive battles for 3 years. The Zephyrians attack, you respond. They choose the time and place of every engagement. We have to respond. If we don't, innocent people die. I understand. But defensive thinking creates defensive habits. Your people always assume they're going to be outnumbered and outgunned. They plan for survival instead of victory." Major Brooks pulled up training records. "We've been working with your pilots for 2 days. Watch this." The screen showed a simulation battle. Alex's pilots fought bravely but predictably, trying to avoid damage while looking for opportunities to escape. Now watch the same simulation with human pilots from our era. The tactics were completely different. The human pilots didn't try to avoid the enemy. They flew straight into the heaviest fire, using speed and maneuverability to confuse targeting systems. Instead of looking for escape routes, they looked for ways to maximize damage to enemy formations. Your pilots tried to survive long enough to fight again, Danny explained. Our pilots tried to end the fight immediately. Alex watched the simulation results. The defensive tactics his people used resulted in minimal casualties on both sides and no clear victory. The aggressive human tactics resulted in heavy enemy losses and complete mission success. But your pilots took more damage, Alex pointed out. Some, Parker agreed. But the battle ended in 3 minutes instead of 30. The enemy fleet was destroyed instead of just damaged. And most importantly, the surviving enemy pilots will be terrified to fight us again. Dr. Amy Foster had been listening quietly. Colonel, what you're describing sounds like you don't care about casualties. Doctor, we care about casualties more than you think, Lisa said. But we understand that the fastest way to minimize casualties is to make the enemy stop fighting. Prolonged warfare causes more deaths than quick, decisive battles, Danny added. Your way of fighting is actually more costly in human lives over time. Parker brought up strategic projections. Commander, at your current rate of success, how long would it take to defeat the Zephyrian Empire? Alex looked at the numbers. At our current rate? Maybe 100 years. If we're lucky, how many of your people will die in a 100-year war? Alex didn't want to answer that question. All of them, Parker said quietly. A war of attrition favors the side with more resources. The Zephyrians have more ships, more soldiers, more planets. If you fight their kind of war, you will eventually lose. So what do you suggest? Alex asked. Major Brooks smiled. We suggest you stop fighting their war and start fighting ours. Danny activated a new display. Human military doctrine is built around 3 principles. First, surprise the enemy. Second, hit them where they don't expect it. Third, make sure they can't hit you back. Show him the Titan Protocol, Parker suggested. Lisa brought up a complex battle plan. The Titan Protocol was developed during the Galactic War. The idea is simple. Instead of fighting 100 small battles, you fight one big battle that ends everything. Alex studied the plan. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Instead of attacking military targets, it focused on communication networks, command structures, and economic centers. You're not trying to destroy their fleet, Alex realized. You're trying to destroy their ability to coordinate their fleet. Exactly, Parker said. A fleet without communication is just a collection of individual ships. Ships without supplies are just expensive metal floating in space. Soldiers without orders are just confused people with weapons. Danny pointed to specific elements of the plan. We identify the 3 most critical points in their command structure. We hit all 3 simultaneously. Before they can respond, their empire starts falling apart from the inside. Amy looked worried. But what about the civilians on those worlds? The people who aren't soldiers? Doctor, what about the civilians the Zephyrians are currently enslaving? Lisa asked. What about the species they're planning to destroy next? Sometimes the most merciful thing you can do is end a war quickly, Parker added. The longer the Zephyrians remain in power, the more people will suffer. Alex looked at the tactical displays. The human approach to warfare was brutal in its efficiency, but it was also brilliant. They didn't just fight battles. They engineered victory. How long would it take? Alex asked. To implement the Titan Protocol? 6 months of preparation, then 3 coordinated strikes. The war would be over in a week. Alex felt his heart racing. And you really think it would work? Parker looked at him with the confidence of someone who had done this before. Commander, we didn't lose the Galactic War because our tactics were bad. We lost because we chose to stop fighting. This time, we won't stop, Danny grinned. The Zephyrians wanted to rule through fear. Let's show them what fear really looks like. Lisa began uploading training programs to the rebel computers. Commander, we're going to teach your people to think like human warriors. It's going to be difficult. They'll have to unlearn everything they think they know about warfare. But when we're done, Parker said, they'll be able to defeat any enemy, no matter how outnumbered they are. Alex looked around at his people, who were already beginning their training with the awakened humans. He could see the change starting to happen. His rebels were walking taller, thinking differently, planning for victory instead of survival. Colonel, what if we can't become as good as you are? Alex asked. Parker smiled. Commander, you don't have to become as good as us. You just have to become better than them. And after 73 years of sleeping, we're very motivated too. Make sure that happens. The transformation had begun. Alex's rebels were about to learn that there was a difference between fighting to survive and fighting to win, and the galaxy was about to remember why humans had once been the most feared warriors in known space.